Okay, we started. I should have counted down so I'm not saying we started at the beginning of it. But to be honest, I don't necessarily care. Okay, welcome everyone back. This is episode ? Because I don't know where we're at. Shit. I don't know. we we don't we I don't even know where. So, um, we this is the worst start of a podcast ever. We're gonna keep it in. Um, we I don't even know what am I doing. I'm like blinking out. I am choking ultra hard right now. Welcome back, everyone, to the two people that are listening, to the one person that I work with that I told about this, and to Bryce, who watches the first 5 minutes and then clicks away because he gets bored. Because outside of doing this, he doesn't even listen to podcasts anyway. His short little TikTok addled brain.
If it doesn't have Fortnite in the title, he cannot watch it.
If it doesn't have Fortnite or Mr. Beast in the title, it's not staying in front of his face for longer than 25 to 40 seconds.
Not sustainable.
So my name's Ammon. This is, of course, Gideon Fuller. He is
not the government name, bro.
The man, the myth, the legend. I can mute that if you need. Government name. There's also other communities that use the word government name, but it's usually in a different context because they like have changed their name to match something they've changed about themselves. But I guess people in the military sometimes will say
they've changed their name to Rhinestone Butterfly Sparkles because they're a brony and they like clomping. Are you a fan of clomping, Ammon?
Unfortunately, myself, I have not personally experienced.
Or their name is Chris Chan Sonichu. You ever heard of yiffing?
What? No, you're really deep down the rabbit hole with this one. I don't know if I want to know.
You know, if you don't know what yipping is, look it up and make sure you put on videos.
Oh no.
Unless you're under the age of 18, in which case don't do that. Because your parents will be mad at you.
Use 2 for tooth.
What are you doing? Did you look up yiffing? Did you click videos?
No, I'm not clicking. I mean, oh
Jamie,
boy.
Jamie, pull up yiffing videos really quick.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Anyway, how's your week been, Gigs? How's your 2 weeks been? I think it's been a while since we recorded.
Grumble Cookie sponsor me.
For real. Anybody anywhere sponsor us? We'll have to get at least one person that's not within the friend group to be watching this. Anyway.
Just give me free cookies and I'll shout you out every day.
Then you're gonna gain 40 pounds and then you won't be able to go down deep caves with us, explore each other's holes. No, sorry, that's the grotto. That's not us.
No, we don't explore each other's caves. We explore
Mother Earth's caves.
Shannon Blake. Shout out to Shannon Blake really quick.
Shout out Shannon Blake. I know
Shannon Blake. If you ever see this, marry me.
No,
I know.
Shannon
I
Blake,
know.
you're probably a wonderful, nice woman. Um, but I do not approve of that marriage. Not anything against you, Shannon Blake. But Gideon needs a different type of woman in his life, and Shannon Blake is not not that.
Shannon Blake could fix me, bro. She could fix me.
Shannon Blake would somehow make you worse.
Somehow. Somehow.
One
I
day,
can think of like 50 ways she would make me worse.
one time, what would end up happening is you would get married to Shannon Blake, and then some random Tuesday morning, I'd be on my way to work, and I'd have received a text from you in the middle of the night, and it would have been a link. Um, and below that link, you would say, "Don't worry about the paid part of it. I got you a special link." And it would be a picture to it would be a link tree, and then on that link tree it would it would be another link of an OnlyFans account, and then I would be like, I'm not watching this. I'm like, Gigs, what is this? And then you would say,
Me, bro. It's me. It's me. Doing what we hoped and dreamed of, brother. I wouldn't. I
and
wouldn't send you an
you
OnlyFans.
would be on
I
the
just
I,
I just
I would
send you the
see you
video.
on the other end of that, and you'd be in one of those leather dog masks that you have on with a leash on. Stop. No.
She's like, bark for me. I'm like, oh.
If Shannon Blake told you to do that, would you do it?
100% I would.
Where is the list where that stops?
I would do it for the same reason that if Alex Jones went to Israel, he said that he would put the cap on and kiss the wall. Is because it'd be really funny if Alex Jones went to Israel and put the cap on and kissed the wall.
No, you would
And
do it.
It'd be really funny.
No. You would have done it even if it wasn't funny. It was Shannon Blake.
If it was Shannon Blake and she was standing in front of me, sipping her ayahuasca in the clothes that she normally wears, which is none. None whatsoever. And she was like, bark for me. And I'd be like, arf.
You don't have to bark. You could just say you would do it.
Arf.
Oh, man.
Arf. Arf.
Stop.
I've been sipping ayahuasca in Peru. Showing my titties to the shaman.
That's
not how the song goes.
That's not how that song goes.
I bet you she did that though.
Oh man, who knows? Who cares? Why are we talking?
I was gonna show my friend. I made a joke about Shannon Blake the other day, and my childhood friend that's out here with me, who is very
yeah. Wait, are you mouthing or are you speaking and I can't hear you?
Wait, hang on. My internet's terrible. I made a joke about Shannon Blake. He goes, "Who is that?" And I was like, "Oh, here, let me show you." I like went to Google and like looked her up and hit images, and I was gonna show him a picture. I was like, "Never mind, I'm not gonna show you." I was like, "You're too pure," because there was not a single picture that I could show him that was like even slightly appropriate. I was like, "Never mind, I'm not gonna show you." He was like, "Why are they like?" He's like, "Why is she like dressed badly a lot?" And I was like, "One could say that, yes."
That is one thing someone could say in that the situation.
One of the things that someone could say that would be true. Yes.
Let me see your palms. The thing that you were showing me earlier. Is it not there?
Oh, me. Oh, yeah. It's kind of hard to see because of the lighting.
Let me see it again.
I did.
What? I know it doesn't exist.
No, you can't.
We need to get you a better camera. Not that
I
have anyone.
It's because it's the same shape as the creases on my hands. I microwaved the peanut butter Nutella chocolate cookie from Crumble today, and I learned that first off, when I just found this out because I microwaved the chocolate chip one too. They get really hot sometimes, but when you microwave the peanut butter Nutella cookie that has the circle of peanut butter and then the circle of Nutella on top of it, and that's been in the fridge, so it's like hard. It's hardened.
Yeah.
When you microwave said cookie in the microwave, the peanut butter especially holds all the moisture inside the cookie. And so the center of the cookie becomes incredibly moist and also incredibly hot.
Oh no, I was waiting on the edge of my seat for that one. Yeah.
Incredibly warm. A lot of warmth
So wait,
and moisture.
pull it back. You put chocolate in a microwave, and it becomes hot and moist. Is that I'm supposed to believe that?
Yes.
Okay.
The cookie, the outside of the cookie that doesn't have the circle of peanut butter around it, becomes dry and loses a lot of its heat. It's warm, but like it's just warm, and you're like, oh look, I warmed my cookie up. This is gonna be great with some cold milk. And you go to pick the cookie up, and you realize that the center of the cookie is in fact incredibly hot, painfully hot. Some might say. Some might say, uh, scaldingly
Scolding.
hot.
Yeah.
Yes. Some might say agonizingly hot too.
I
And
see.
that's when you. Uh, I don't know if you've ever seen the first Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. I know you have.
The first,
first Indiana Jones
there's
movie.
two Raiders.
The first Indiana Jones movie, also known as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, in which the character Major Toad, an SS Gestapo agent, picks up what is known as the I can't remember what it's called now. The figurehead for the staff of Ra after it's been in the fire and it sears
That's
his
what it's
hand.
called.
That's basically what happened to me, except I had the Crumble logo seared into my fucking
Oh, nice. The Crumble logo being the back of a Hershey's Kiss.
the back of a Crumble chocolate moose track cookie.
Right, I see. Something that
And
totally
it burned the
random.
shit out.
I
It
just
hurt
thought
really
of.
bad.
Have you seen Tarantino Inglorious Bastards?
Of course, I've seen that movie.
Have you? And so you've seen Indiana Jones, of course.
Uh huh.
And you've seen like Marvel, like Hal Hydra, whatever guy, red
That's
guy.
cool. Where are you going with this? These all have one thing in common.
I, this, if okay, let's say all of these guys did exist, and Hitler recruited some of the coolest people. I mean, worst people on the face of the planet.
Wait, hang on. My internet just lagged. You know when the Wii would crash? When your Wii crashes, it goes.
Yeah.
That's just what happened to me. The whole stream just did that, and it made the Wii noise.
Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. We're so back. We've never been more back than we are right now.
We never. It was never Jover, but
It was never Joe.
So let's say there was a meeting, and
Mhm.
somehow all of these SS officers ended up in the same room. What is like the funniest or most entertaining conversation that happened between like homeboy who had been to apparently like Nepal to get his hand burned by the staff of Ra, or apparently like or a guy who was known for, which is probably the most historically accurate situation, which is the guy from Inglorious Bastards, and then the red guy, and then every
a guy whose face melted off. Well, I guess that describes the Indiana Jones guys too.
Oh, true. So, but like, what is that conversation like? Like what?
The female chick, the female who's the female SS girl from Hellboy.
Oh yeah. And I'm like trying to think of
leave her out.
Obviously, it's been like the infatuation of Hollywood to tell stories around Hitler and Nazis, So you get all of these like fictional Nazis together in a room.
Right. Infatuation of Hollywood to what?
Oh, is the internet really this bad?
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, that's okay because you broke up whenever you're speaking to. I said we got all of these people together. What like what's some of the conversations that's going on? Is there anything interesting or funny? I'm
I
just
have a lot of jokes I want to make. I have a lot of jokes that I can make
yeah.
right now, and I
Unfortunately,
don't know
this
if all of them are good.
this situation really really totes the line. What is
Um, if they were supposed to be evil, why did they make them all so cool? That's
no, that's not the takeaway here. Stop. Oh shit. Okay, never
um,
mind.
I just
Speaking of
I just
Hitler,
think you,
what do you think of
there would
Kanye's
have
new
been.
song?
I didn't know we were gonna say the name. I was just gonna say there would have been a mustached, uh, washed up art student that um a washed up Austrian painter
Right.
that would have been just like, how did every single one of you guys fail?
How did every single one of you fail?
How did every single one of you not do what you were supposed to do? How did every single one of you get this close to doing what you were supposed to do? And then at the very last minute, the very last second, failing at what you were supposed to do.
That reminds me of a joke that I saw. That
It's just
was
like the guy, the Nazi, the when Tom Cruise tried to kill Hitler, even Tom Cruise as the Nazi officer got this close to doing it and then failed.
that makes sense.
I
There's
just
actually there's an untapped market. Actually, this is not a market at all, and I shouldn't say this, but of movies where the Nazis actually like follow through with their plan. I don't know if I should. Shit.
I don't know, dude. Schindler's List was pretty on the ball, bro.
Oh shit. Nope.
I'm pretty sure they went through with
We
it
might
in
need to start this one
Schindler's List.
over. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Boy in the striped pajamas too.
Damn. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea to even say. But what I
Just
was
put this one on Rumble. We'll be fine.
for real, for real. So I saw this one and it was like an AF post and it was like Argentina's Supreme Court found Nazi documents and propaganda material in its basement and someone quote tweeted it and was like sink discovered in bathroom. And I was like, so true. It's like, oh no, we didn't think that this was going to be what ended up happening. Was the fact that it stayed there so long is also kind of hardcore. Like, at least see it for the history books.
Well, it's just like
But like, who brought it over and why? They think they were going to create a new situation.
probably. I mean, it was, bro. They built. If you go to Argentina, there's Bavarian towns
I knew about
in
that.
Argentina. Like there's like full on
They were
like
well off, smart
cobblestone
guys.
streets. Yeah, like cobblestone. It literally like I remember there was like a Top Gear episode where they go to Argentina or something like that, and they like end up on these like cobblestone streets. And they're like, "Where are we?" And they're like, "This is literally Germany. We are in like Bavaria, Germany." And then there's like a statue in like the city center or something like that. There's like a bronze bust of like I don't remember like Hermann Goering or something like that. And they're just like, "Oh, this is one of those Argentinian German towns."
Based.
And then like they're like, "Oh, that's why it looks like it's Germany is because there's some Germans that lived here,
I always wondered how
some
like yeah
some
that's
Germans that came here after 1945."
yeah. But what do you think about the new pope? Why do you think he's American?
Because they're I think it's appeasement. I wanted the Cardinal Sarah, the one from like Africa or whatever. That's like I wanted him to be the Pope, the one because first off, it would have been dope to have an African Pope, like a black guy,
Mm-hmm.
and second because his whole platform was like be based, have kids.
Oh really?
Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should
he's
have
like
done that.
homosexuality is a sin. Have kids. Um, like all the like he's just ultra based.
Why are you gay?
Wait, are you gay?
I saw this one thing, and it was like this guy, the new Pope, Pope Francis, the 95th or whatever, was holding this staff, and it had like a really detailed metal crucifix on the end of it. Someone posted it and was like, something cool about being the Pope is you get all the in-game Catholic gear. And it was like, I've never wanted to be the Pope before until I read that and realized that they're totally right. And
Yeah, bro.
yeah, I think I've also, this is super random, but I've also, there's like 8 million people on the earth. There was millions of people whenever the first Pope came to be, which was sometime a while ago.
Well, allegedly,
Allegedly.
if you ask the Catholics, it was Peter. So
Um, in
allegedly,
in this modern world, who is the type of person who is a Catholic priest? And I'm saying
oh,
this.
where's this going?
No, not that, not that. Damn, I am toting the line today, and I'm not even trying. I'm trying to have like different conversations, and they just keep getting real close to certain things that are no.
Against certain people's terms and services.
No, it's like you're born in Louisiana, you're born in Africa, you're born in Asia, you're born in Europe, and you're born Catholic, or maybe you're not born Catholic and you decide to be Catholic or whatever. And then you decide that you want to have your entire career as being a Catholic priest, separate from what separate from what you're thinking of. Like, do you think that there are dudes that are like 36, they're like a pope, and they could have been like a really good lawyer, or they could have been had like a career in like some random venture capital, they could have been in the military, they could have been a dentist, they could have been well off, and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna stay a priest, and the end goal is for me to be the pope. Do you think that they think that? Do you think that they don't think that? Like, how many people are in line? Like, how does the Catholic Church even work? And how do you get what's the pipeline for being a pope? And why does like what power do you actually have? And
You
like,
have
would
to be
you
a
actually?
cardinal.
So you know more about this than I do. I tangentially know that there are cardinals that exist in the Catholic Church, but how do you become a cardinal?
I think you have to become like a bishop first, and there's like archbishops, and there's like it's a tier system, it's a rank system. There's a tier system. It's like
So it's like jerk
certain
ranked, but the Catholic Church. So one second, Catholic Church.
ranks.
It's like Valorant
Do not
ranked.
do not type do not type in Catholic Church jerk mate rank because I don't. I'm afraid of what would come up if you did that.
Shit, I I keep actually typing in jerk, and I keep deleting it. One sec, one sec. Catholic, church, uh, ranked, ranks. Okay. We got something. This is actually new for me. So it goes Catholics, so the like the people in the church. Then it goes. I'm seeing two different ones. I'm seeing deacons, and then I'm seeing priests, and then
Yeah,
I'm seeing above. Some of these don't have the deacons on there.
and that's because deacons are like
Is that only
yeah,
like
I don't even know it.
Orthodox? I don't know.
No,
Because there's also like different
deacons are
brands.
deacons. And then there's like altar boys and like there's
Bishop. Wait,
we all know about
the
Catholic
bishop
priests
is
and altar
above the
boys.
pope.
No,
What is this higher
bishop.
Roman Catholic Church hierarchy? Oh, that's Roman Catholic Church. Oh, and so they have to put the bishop above the pope if you're Roman Catholic.
I
So
don't know.
okay, so it goes yeah, so priests and then bishops and then archbishops and then cardinals and then pope. Yeah, you had the whole list down. Oh, there's more. Hierarchy of Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Of the flying what? Church of the Flying what?
I thought I was looking at something serious, and then I read it out loud and realized I was very wrong.
What did it say?
It says the hierarchy of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
That is a real thing, bro. That's a real church.
I'm not saying
That's
that's not. Don't act like I'm.
No, it's a real thing. I remember we talked about it on a field op one time. It's a
Let's see.
legitimate
So we have.
because there was a guy that was converting to it. And we thought it was hilarious.
Okay. Let's see here. We have Ensign. The Ensign is the archpriest. Oh wait, this looks like it might be
The
backward.
church. Okay, look. This is a church.
There shall be
The church.
they have a navy. There shall only be one
they do.
admiral of the navy. Admiral Aunt, the head honcho number 1, the admiral, aka the Pope of Pastafar. Okay, so it does go Ensign first. Ensigns are the archpriests, sailors who have been. Oh, I can't read this. How do I zoom in? Oh no. So
Okay,
no.
I need you to look up. This is the church that's similar to the Catholic Church. Okay.
Okay.
Look up the Church of, and I'm gonna have to spell it out for you because it's hard to spell it if I just
And I'm
pronounce
turbo dyslexic. Okay, let's hear it.
it. ADONIT.
Yeah, I got it.
Adonatology.
Okay, let's see here.
The
Internet
church.
mysteries.
And go to images. Go to images.
Oh.
They're massive. They claim they have millions of members worldwide.
And I can understand where their claim is coming from. Oh, damn.
I will give you 3 guesses as to the
No, don't say it. Don't say what I know you're going to say. No, don't say that.
of the person that founded this church.
No, don't say that. You failed that quick time event twice. So this is I want to go over this. The hierarchy of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monsters. So we have
We're not going to talk about Adonatology.
No.
The Book of Adonatology, the sacred pentadon of the Adonatology religion. One of the most influential books in the history of literature, recognized as one of the greatest literary masters. The description on Google. Hello? Did you hear this is the review. This is what it's described as on Google. One of the most influential books in the history of literature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look. Recognized as one of the greatest literary masterpieces of its time.
And when was that time? 1995?
I actually think that's when the guy that founded it. He said he was walking on a beach. He was walking on a beach in
Which tracks?
in like South Korea because he was a soldier that was stationed in South Korea, and he said he was like drunk walking a beach in Korea when suddenly out of nowhere a figure appeared to him, bathed in white, pierced of skin, with a very specific form.
Yeah.
A person. And that person told him, the personage, she told him to create this religion.
Right. Commodore and Rear Admiral. That's all. The holies. That's it. Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Because the Church of the Flag Spitting Monster.
So, how many bishops are there in the Catholic Church?
You can get Jedi put on your dog tags as your religion.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I'm too messy.
Approximately 5,600 Catholic bishops. Archbishops? Sorry, I'm kind of going down this rabbit hole of like archbishops. Well, there's a lot of archbishops.
The Catholic Church.
There's like an equal amount of bishops as there are archbishops. And then cardinals, how many cardinals? There's only 251 cardinals. Of these, 113 are cardinal electors, meaning they have the eligibility to vote in a papal conclave. Papal?
Yeah, that's the people that choose the Pope.
Right. Got that from context clues. How do you?
Oh, sorry. I guess I'll go kill myself. Because I'm too messy.
Do you think that so it's like 130 dudes who have been a part of the Catholic Church for a long while, their whole life, go in and they vote on their favorite one? Or like yeah.
It's supposed to be the one that God tells them to vote for.
No, of course, but like separate from that. Yeah, okay. Do you think that let's say the Pope, you think that they had why do you think the American Pope, you don't think it had to do with the trade war?
I think it.
How much do you think the like how much power does the Pope actually have in the world, do you think?
As much power as the Catholic people give him.
But like what does he do? I've been to the Vatican. It's cool. Really great art museum. Have you been?
No, well, in Indiana Jones, I have.
Wait, is it in the Great Circle?
It is in the Great Circle.
What year? So it wasn't like a big thing at the time. Like there was people around, but it wasn't like next level. When I went, it felt
No,
like
it's
it felt
exactly.
like a museum. Did it feel like a museum?
Yeah,
So cool. I wish
it's
I could have
well.
stayed
It,
longer.
it kind of feels like a museum, except for I mean, it's a level. It's the first world or whatever. It's not just a level. It's a world.
That makes me
It's
want
the
to buy
first
it.
world. It's dude. If you haven't bought the game yet, you should get it. There's like and like you end up like walking through the Sistine Chapel and stuff like that. And the Sistine Chapel isn't just a museum. It's an actual. It's being used as like an actual chapel.
In the 40s, was it being
Um,
used as a chapel?
I have no. It's supposed to take place in like 1938 or something like that.
Sorry, in the 30s.
Yeah. So there's
I tried taking a picture and I got yelled at whenever I was in the Sistine Chapel.
yeah, it's because the flash damages the
The paint? Is that true?
yeah, yep.
Where'd you hear that?
It's a thing if you go to certain museums with like paint and with like paintings and stuff like that, like you can't take flash photography
I wasn't even
and you
trying to
can't take like
take a
certain
flash
pictures of
picture.
things.
Says flash photo damage paintings. It must have heard us talking. Cumulative exposure to numerous flashes along with UV contained uh, contamination of some flashes contribute to fading of pigments. I guess that makes sense. Let me take a picture of the freaking Mona Lisa.
That's because They're French. The French don't care. The French are also brain dead. Well, let me rephrase that. Parisians are brain dead. Most Parisians aren't even French. So
You think
we'll
so?
get that out of the way. Yeah, dude. Why do you, dude? Literally, if you like look at it, there's Paris and then there's France, and
I
it
didn't
just
even go
sucks
to
because
France when I went to Paris.
there's
Paris.
so many people. There's so many people in Paris that Paris basically decides what the rest of France does.
The frog legs tasted good there though.
France, I actually, I hate on the French, but the reason that most people hate on the French is because they go to Paris and Paris sucks. So, but Parisians, it's because Parisians suck. The French themselves are actually pretty cool. It's just like Germany, like Berlin sucks. Like most of the,
You're just saying hardcore things about places you've never been to.
never been, but I know about it, dude. Hey, look up the freaking. I can't say that.
Text it to me, I guess.
Okay.
So the new pope, you think? You think?
We're saying there's a reason Poland's the most based country in the world,
No.
or in Europe.
You fail quick. The quick time events in real life are unfortunate because they last infinitely.
Poland's a cool country, bro.
No, we're gonna end it on that.
They're a cool country.
Yeah, I went to Chicago and they have the Polish hot dogs there. What is it called? What is it called? Portillos? Bussin', for real, bussin' on the next level. When I'm rich and I have a private jet, I'm gonna make my private jet go pick up Portillos, put it in a heated. I'm gonna have a refrigerator,
Dude.
and I'm gonna have a heated refrigerator. I'm gonna have a heater or a heat box. And I'm gonna have that jet. It's gonna fly to Chicago. It's gonna pick up some Portillos, and then it's gonna fly back. And then I'm gonna put.
You're gonna fly to Chirac just for hot dogs? That's a dangerous proposition, brother.
My private jet will go to Chicago, pick up some pizza. Go to New York, pick up some pizza. Afghanistan.
You better be bold. You better be. Yeah, I think you'd be safer going to Afghanistan to pick up pizza, bro. At least the Taliban have it on lockdown.
Yeah, if you have a good relationship.
The best part about Afghanistan is that the Taliban have it mostly locked down, and no woman will talk to you, so you won't even have to see them.
What are you saying right now?
Because they'll be in those carpet things that they wear. I can't remember what they're called to save my life. Burkas.
We're. I don't think it's carpet. I think a better word would be cloth. Anyway.
It looks like carpet. It looks like a big carpet. You knew when I said carpet.
Yeah, I knew, yeah. Speaking of, I really want a Persian rug. Dang, that will go next level. They're really expensive, though, from what I understand. don't say what you're thinking right now, please. Oh, no, stop.
I'm not just saying. Persian rugs, I want one too.
Stop.
I'd get lost in it.
Don't say anything more about the Persian rug, please. I'm talking. What were we? What were I don't even. I'm gonna be okay. I don't even care because this is like whatever. To the two people that will watch this. Um. there's a did you watch that I stutter so much. I hate myself. Did you watch that video that I sent you today?
I did not. I got distracted.
That's okay.
And thus the wind died. The wind left the sails and then died.
All right, we're gonna get a little meta here. I want to continue doing this podcast no matter what because I like talking with you. I like talking with Bryce and and friends.
Wait, hang on. Hold on a minute. Is our YouTube profile picture the power plant for the battleship Yamato?
Yes, it is.
A diagram of the power
Is that
plant for the
not
battleship
awesome?
Yamato? That is so cool.
That isn't that awesome?
That is so cool. That's insane. That's so cool.
That's. I don't know if that's gonna get us in trouble or not. Well,
anyone who knows what that is gonna enjoy this podcast.
It's true, yeah.
Anyone who knows what anyone who figures out or who can just look at that and like me, basically anyone who can figure that out is me.
Is he going to work?
Mm-hmm.
What I was gonna say is the I'm not I keep stuttering because I'm like trying to think, and I have like two different brains. I have like thinking and not talking brain, and then I have like thinking and talking brain. And I'm trying to do both of those at the same time, so I keep stuttering. But this podcast, I don't care how good it is, to be super honest. I would like people to watch it, and I think people will like later on. But me and you and Bryce and Ryan and Hayes and whoever else, it's just a way for us to talk and hang out and try to be funny and talk about cool stuff. And it's just like the boys doing whatever. And that's why I want to bring on that guy that I was showing you. But I just hope to everything that he doesn't click on any part of any section of the beginning, middle, or end of any of these podcasts at all, even a little bit. Because that is so different from what I want to do with him. Because I want to like bring him on and
have a legitimate conversation with him.
Yeah, and I want to.
Not just be us goofing around.
And I want, and I want to have Bryce here too, like me, you, and Bryce.
I don't know if Bryce would last through a discussion with
he doesn't need to. Engineer. The what I want to do is I want to start off with being like, look, we got corn-fed, potato-fed Idahoan here, who's a friend who, whenever we're not having a like turbo
gay butt sex.
whenever we're not having a regular podcast, which is us joking around talking about current politics and whatever ADHD thing we're going like whatever rabbit hole we're going down, we would want to be having conversations with like serious people about like certain things, just have fun. We can joke sometimes, but we can be serious other times. Like me and you, definitely very interested and curious about that kind of stuff. And the main reason why I'd want to talk to him is have a conversation where we have Bryce, someone who doesn't care, who probably hasn't thought or can't even spell the word nuclear, and see like, so this guy, his whole thing is to get like nuclear popular again, and just he's like dedicated his life to like nuclear education. And so I'd be like, have a conversation with Bryce.
Sorry, my left arm's smaller than my right arm.
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
And have him, and then be like, Bryce is the regular middle class American that makes up like 300 of the 350 million Americans that exist. You know what I mean by that? And be like, Bryce, what questions do you have? What questions do you not have? And go from there, you know? And then we can be like, Bryce, we're going to get into the nitty gritty now. You can leave if you want, because we're going to go down the rabbit hole. And
that would be good.
And I think the only thing is we have 0 views. So I don't know what we'll do. We might have to wait a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what I'm even talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about this here.
It could be the move. We'll see.
We'll see. But also this podcast too, I want to have like some of it to be structured, or I don't know how like segments or I don't even know. I know you don't work well on structure, and that's fine. But I've kind of assumed the role for now to be the person that's trying to like guide the conversation and be like the moderator kind of thing. I'm obviously terrible at it, which
Bye,
is
sir.
um and then like go from there. But I heard someone who has a podcast, you know him, the hot dude who takes women on dates, Zach Brown. Zach Justice, not Zach Brown. Look up Zach Justice.
Big,
He has
big justice. 5 big boobs. Sorry to hear your brother just died. Here's 5 big boobs.
Boom.
Boom.
Where's the other 3?
This guy just takes women on dates. I feel like I've seen a YouTube video of this guy before.
You have. Bryce loves him, and that's how I found out about him. I get my like turbo normie TikTok feed from him. I'm like, what's big right now? And he just sends me
Blind dating a
Doy
girl at sea. Blind dating single moms with their kid. Based. Okay, I like this.
So this guy, he
dates women.
Not really.
He doesn't settle down
for
with them?
content. And he has his own podcast, which you've probably seen clips of that are pretty funny, that are really good. And then he also like started managing a podcast company as well, where people come in and they have podcasts. And he goes, one of the things about having a podcast is one of the goals is you want to try to make it better every single week. And I'm like, that's easy to say. That sounds really hard to do, because if anything, we have either stayed the same or digressed every month, every week. You know what I mean by that? No, I think we found a groove, but it's not interesting. I don't know.
I think it's, I don't know. I think that it's us being ourselves. You have to, first off, you have to know who we are. You have to know that while we say a lot of things that a lot of people would construe as very dark or like bad
Or racist
or something like that.
else. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bigoted.
you have to understand that we're not any of those things. We're really not. Like if you like know us in person, you know that like we may say things that are terrible, but we're not actually terrible people. We don't actually like believe. Like I could go off on like I could recite like a certain Austrian painter's like speech word for word with the most convincing intonation, and like I could recreate it perfectly and look you dead in the eyes as I do it too. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're serious. No, I'm not serious. I don't believe it. Like I don't actually think that anything, any of the terrible things I say is true. Be a good person, treat your fellow man with like equality and respect, and like that's really all you need to do in your life.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really good. I'm glad that you said that. It reminds me of like why I wanted to do this and why I continue to want to do this is like 2 or 3 things really. But one of them is like even if we do this for the rest of our lives, for the next 40, 50, 70 years, this will just be online with like 0 views for the rest of time. It will at least be on a hard drive somewhere, and then in a million years, whenever some future civilization comes in here and they say, we want to learn about Gen Z, they're gonna find this podcast, and then it's going to be the truest form of 2 Gen Z people monologuing about culture and life, and how the way that the culture that existed when we were children and adolescents shaped us for the rest of our lives. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if nothing else, that's what this is. It's just us being friends and talking and hanging out and whatever else. Um, Speaking of, what do you think about Kanye's new song?
The one about his cousin.
The-
You're talking about the one about his cousin, right?
um,
Surely there's not a new song after he talked about his cousin. Surely I did not miss that.
um,
World War
the
Three, is that what you're talking about?
the World War III is about his cousin, right?
No, pretty sure the one it's called like
HH.
I. It's called I sucked my cousin's dick or something like that. Let me look at what it's actually called.
No chance that's what it's called.
I'm pretty sure it's called. Oh no, it's just called Cousins.
I sucked my cousins.
Wait. That was World War Three. I don't know.
Um. So what do you think about Kanye's new song?
It's just wild. Where does he find these? Where does he find these backup singers, bro? That's what I really want to.
That
Like
really
who? I
is.
understand. That's the thing that really blows my mind. It's like I understand the like one guy. Like I understand like Kanye seeing something like this and be like the fact that he got like 40 other dudes in to make the music video, 40 other buff, like super buff, fit guys
Yeah.
come in, make this video, have it be posted, knowing what it is, because there's no way you don't know.
Of course. I mean, you've seen it on Twitter. And you know what? I'm not even going to this. Let me think.
Where does he find them? I'll take 3. Where does he buy them? I need. Where does he shop at?
Where I wonder where who there has to be someone on Earth and who made that chain for him and what the price increase was to make that type of chain. You know what I mean? Like that chain, if it wasn't what it was and it was made for somebody else, like how much was the Beerish chain that KSI made? It was probably just a normal commissionable price, but there was probably a higher commissionable price because of what that was, you know? And
Who
I'm
makes
gonna
this stuff? That's what I want to know. I know you could get anything on the internet, but like anything, really, anything. Maybe I'll buy a Persian rug.
I'm disappointed that I knew exactly what you were talking about when you like telepathically knew exactly what you were speaking of, and I'm certain that many portions of whoever ends up ever viewing this ever, even if it
The
like
people that know that is the Battleship Yamato power plant will know.
they will know. That's true.
They'll understand.
Crazy, bro. all I was
The
gonna say
people.
is, I don't know if I should go down this path, but I actually don't think I'm gonna go down a long weird diatribe for like 5 minutes real quick. I think the people that choose to falsify their thoughts in public are part of the reason of why negative things happen. There's negative outcomes of that. So one outcome of this, and this is really going down the rabbit hole, and this is something that I think about a lot. But like I'm not like an ultra Trump supporter, but compared to what was offered to me on the other side of the fence, I definitely was like, I am definitely behind that.
I would do anything to prevent this.
And I think there are some things that he could do better. But that could be said about any person that you drop shoot into being a freaking president. And I think there might be
Yeah.
part of me starting to believe that his personality is the type of personality that's the only type of person that could have been that president. Is like, oh, you want him to play nice? It's like, oh, let's have this hypothetical world where Trump is a really nice, tactful guy and doesn't love egging on the fake media that he's at war with or whatever. It's like you get a guy that doesn't win the presidency, and and
Yeah.
and so
He
there's this
doesn't.
thing. Sorry, keep going.
No, I was gonna say like that was like his whole thing. Is there like his is when they were like, oh, his platform's garbage. Like Trump's like running platform is garbage. And like the next day, this dude shows up driving around. I don't remember where it was, but he's like driving around town where he was in a garbage truck that said Trump Pence on it.
Yeah, that
Like
was awesome. I loved that.
tough,
Or
tough.
no, it wasn't
Like,
Pence. Uh,
or maybe it wasn't. Or
it was
yeah, you're
this
right.
presidency.
Vance,
That was
Vance.
this
Yeah,
past
you're
year. So
right.
it's
Sorry, Trump Vance.
Trump fans. No, so
I'm just
yeah. So I think you get him as a package. You can't
sorry.
separate
Sorry,
some of.
JD. I love you.
Yeah,
I
we
love you.
honestly
Your
love you,
memes are
dude. You're awesome.
fantastic.
I
We
love
do love
who you are and what you represent. And
what you represent, a fellow Marine, and you have made the greatest memes perhaps of all time. You have become the greatest meme of all time. You
and
did in like 3 days what Elon Musk has been trying to do for like 10 years. It's wild.
kill the Pope. What?
Started a war between India and Pakistan. It's wild to me that everywhere he goes, terrible things happen.
Yeah, we got to keep him home. We got to keep him on a leash for real, for real.
And he's powerful. Yeah, it's like,
Don't bring him to
hey,
South America.
Russia, Ukraine, if you don't shape up right now, we're gonna send JD Vance.
Yeah.
It's like those memes of like where the American military like deploys Fetty Fazbear. Like we're gonna deploy JD Vance Bear to you.
Yeah.
He's gonna tell you say please and thank you.
Those memes are so good.
And then your world's gonna come crashing down. You're gonna get.
So.
Oh yeah. By the way, who else could have stopped the India-Pakistan conflict that JD Vance created? With his mere presence.
Yeah, no one else. I agree. It's not fully stopped, but it's definitely subdued. I think Trump has. I heard someone said this. I'm taking it from them, but I don't know who that was that said it. So whoever you are out there, sorry about this. But in Sun Tzu, they say, "Give your enemies a golden bridge to cross, to retreat or whatever. Give them a golden bridge to retreat on." And it's like the left, some of the left, specifically like Hassan, and some of the left like to say that politicians are all liars, and like maybe that's true. And it's like Trump is a liar, and he has this posture that he likes to end wars, or that he's not a warmonger, but it's like a fake posture. It's like Hassan has said things like, "Yeah, this is weird. I don't know why Trump claims to be this non-warmonger, but he obviously like loves war. He's just hiding it from everyone that he's a dictator. He loves war or whatever." But then, separate from bombing Syria like once or twice in his presidency to keep the Middle East in check, he has shown at every crossroad that he is trying to give every enemy he is handing on golden bridges, giving people to retreat to try to de-escalate situations, because he understands that war is bad for everyone. He doesn't like the conflict. He doesn't like the people dying. He doesn't like the babies in the streets. He's doing his best to try to end the world's suffering. And it's
he understands that war is a necessary evil, but it's still an evil.
Yeah. And so it's like where you can, you avoid it. In every point in the modern age, war can be avoided in a lot of situations. You can talk to both these parties. You can strike a deal, and it's a very unique situation. It's like I really enjoy that of like he ends wars, and I think like any other president,
like that video of him rolling up to the snow-covered slopes, and he gets out of the helicopter like after like all the presidents show up and they're like one helicopter, and there's like 9 that show up, and Trump gets out of one. There's like 9 American ones that show up. Dude, the aura, bro. Like the absolute aura of like, I am the most powerful person here, and you all are gonna listen to me. You're gonna stop fighting.
Yeah.
Wild.
And it's like
Sorry.
conflict after conflict, he has shown that he's a man of his word, that some battles need to be fought, but you need some wars need to end. Like maybe 9/11, maybe the wars after that needed to happen, but if Trump was president in 2004, the war would have ended then. You know what I mean? He would have found a way to do what he needed to do and get out. He was not at the behest of the military industrial complex to keep the war moving the way a lot of the politicians are. And back onto this uh, long train of thought that's going to come back to bite me later on, which is going to lead to Kanye. Um, we got down the road of Trump, but what I was saying is like, um, I think it's negative for people to choose to falsify what they believe, um, and I like have personally done it. This is going. We're just going to go down the rabbit hole. There's this economist that I heard about, who I think went to like Chicago or something. He's like a professor at Chicago, and in economics. He came up with this theory called preference falsification. And before Trump won in 2016, as an economist, he predicted that Trump was going to win, even though a lot of the media and everyone else was like kind of like still on the fence about how who was.
No one thought Trump was. I didn't think Trump was. I mean,
I
granted, I was
I
a stupid,
I
snot nosed kid.
I thought it was close because I saw where Trump was coming from, and I thought that, but I didn't think a lot about it. But I didn't think, I kind of was like, it was like iffy. I thought it was going to be a close race, but it was like a
I
shot
wanted him to win.
at the time. I
We all
definitely
wanted
wanted
him
him
to
to.
win.
Well, not we
No
all. I
one
mean,
thought that he was gonna. Oh yeah, but like you know what I mean. Like
yeah, yeah.
everyone wanted Trump to win. Like the forward thinking,
That's what I'm getting
but
to.
everyone was like, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you're good. So this preference falsification is the idea of you take a smart, well-off dentist, let's say, or and then you take a smart, yeah, well-off lawyer who's in a part of a really big hedge fund, or not hedge fund. I'm dumb. Even take a hedge fund manager. Take a lawyer who's a part of some very prestigious LA law firm that you can only get into this law firm if you went to Harvard and you work in LA and you're a certain type of law firm and whatever stuff you see in TV shows. And it's like it's 2016 and you're in the office and you're a dentist, a hedge fund manager, or a lawyer at a top firm. It's who are you? What are you saying to your friends of who you're voting for? It's all three of them are saying I'm voting for Hillary, but whenever they go to the box, who do they actually vote for? Two thirds or a large majority, and 90% of those of these working class, smart, independent people actually voted for Trump in that moment. And for one reason or another, it could have been they couldn't respect the fact that we knew that Hillary was a career politician who was probably most likely corrupt, and the emails was probably the tip of the iceberg, or they just liked the campaign that Trump was running on. They're like, I actually, from first principles, agree with a lot of the things that he's saying, even if he is this dislikable character who is a little bit rowdy and says kind of mean things and says inappropriate things or whatever else. And he's a rich billionaire that everyone has something bad to say about. And that's preference falsification. So there's this idea of in an environment where at your workplace, because you're a hedge fund manager, secretly you say, I'm not all in, but I'm all in enough to vote for Donald Trump in 2016. But I don't tell all of my friends. Maybe I only tell my wife at at home, but I don't tell anybody else because there's so much to lose. You went to Harvard, you went to an Ivy League school. All of your friends are all outwardly saying we went to we vote for Hillary. Hillary is this what was the thing that was always said? Hillary was inevitable. It was going to happen. She was going to be the president or whatever else. And the New York Times is saying this. It's like there are people that lost their jobs because of this. So based back to what we were talking about before, Palmer Luckey, Anduril, CEO of Anduril, he got fired from Facebook because he supported he donated money to a Hillary campaign or to a Trump campaign. And so there is real, because so much of the world is very tribal. If you go against the tribe, you can lose, like actually lose money and status because of the words that you say and the things that you believe. And so I've come to realize, because of this experience of like learning about these economists and learning that there are times where I at work, or I with my friends or with my family, I have a nuanced take about a certain situation, and they say, Ammon, what do you think? And I just go with the easy, everyone else is talking about, I just agree with them. And then I was like a Trump supporter, but I have a lot of like liberal, very like compassionate first type people who focus more on social justice than they do of like having a how do you say, like a healthy economy, or you need to manage other things before you need to have a managed healthy governance of a country before you can focus on the social issues. Because if you don't have a healthy government, think, freedom is only one generation away. And you can't have an America where you can have these social issues that are addressed the way that they are here. And so recently I've just been like, no, I'm if I have a nuanced take on something and I'm in a group of people that are going to look at me weird whenever I have this take, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to be telling them like, yeah, I voted for Trump, and I do it out of compassion and I do it out of logic. And I don't care if I lose friends because of it, or family members because of it, or my job prospects or my career prospects are sacrificed. I think that it the harm of not saying how you feel propagates negative consequences. Like, you know what I mean by that? Oh, sorry, I can't hear you. It's not going. Look at the green around your head, and see it's not like even going off. This is great monologue territory. I can just continue talking.
Okay.
What were you saying?
I
Oh, 1 second. It's shitting the bed. Which we'll wait a sec. We'll see what we can do. Speak. Hello. Oh man.
bean.
Okay, I heard the second beans. Do it again.
Beans.
Oh no. The internet. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
I want to set up Starlink.
I heard I want to set up Starlink. Try to go get a pen and paper and just write down, and then just start flipping. Could you imagine how annoying that would be?
I can't write that fast.
It sounds like it might be better. Try to do 3 words and then a space, and then 3 words and then a space.
3 words in this space.
Well, say what you're gonna say.
I think a lot of people
Oh man, I think a lot of people. What?
have learned
Have learned. Okay, I got have learned what?
in the past
In the past
years.
years. Oh man, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna hang myself from this rope right here. It's over. You're gonna see my closet, and it's. Do you think that your headphones might be dying? I guess you wouldn't be able to hear me. Is there a way that you could plug them in and just have a cord coming down from your head, and then the microphone might not be an issue? I'll keep monologuing, and you kind of take down notes so you can just kind of do a big spiel at the end until you get your headphones set up. Is that okay? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Because I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. This is all staying in, everyone, by the way. This is the part of the pod. It's just raw us. Honestly, later on we might not have these issues. But right now, I'm not going to say where he's at, but he's doing what he's doing, and I'm doing what I'm doing. Camera isn't a perfect quality. I wish I had money for a $700 camera that could go 4K or whatever else. But it's, I'm getting, it's not that bad actually. So that's
That's
what
because
it
I
is.
turned my head.
Oh, this is actually kind of, I can kind of hear you a little bit there. Your upload speed must be.
Can you hear me okay?
Actually, I can.
Working?
Yeah. Do you just want to? Can you hear me? Do you want to just try this? Or
Yeah, this is here. Let me.
oh no, okay. Actually, it's Jover. I can't. If you've been saying something, I haven't been hearing it.
Is it echoing for you?
It's not echoing, but that part I heard the first part, but I didn't hear the last part. It might just be your upload speed. Like no matter what microphone you're using, we might not be able to hear. I'm gonna keep monologuing, guys. So this is what you're gonna get. You know, first couple years it's gonna be garbaggio. You know, this clarity you can see the pixels. But later on, you know, we're gonna have a little bit more money. Our careers are gonna develop a little bit, and then we'll be able to. and then we'll have better equipment, and it'll be. But this, I'll keep all the content in. My insecure monologue about where this podcast was even going and us trying to get guests on it. I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm the editor in chief of all this. And I want to say editor in chief just because I know they go together, even though we don't work at New York Times. I was like, this is all getting cut out. This is all me just insecure rambling about bullshit or whatever else. Like, it doesn't matter. And this whole podcast was gonna be like, it was good practice, but we're gonna can it all and just and whatever else. But then after him and we had this little heart to heart where he talked about, nope, come on, say something again. Okay, I heard the sigh. Dude, give us a little monologue for like 2 minutes, and I'm gonna see how much I can.
Can you hear me now? Now, I was gonna say.
Turn off. There's a setting that
I'm too sexy.
you know how there's a setting that only listens for whenever your voice is going? It's like push to talk, but it's like a voice activated. Just turn that off all the way and see what happens. I don't care if we hear whatever else in the entire room. Just like have the mic permanently recording. See if that changes it. Man, we were just getting a groove and like being serious and having good conversation, and I was talking about preference falsification.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Is anybody else uploading anything on your internet right now? Like uploading, not downloading, but uploading? I don't know why I asked you that question when I can't even hear the words that are coming out of your mouth. Is your roommate secretly a YouTuber uploading a YouTube video to YouTube?
Can you hear me now? Now.
Yes. Say that again.
Is this working correctly?
It's kind of better now.
Like I turned push to talk on, so now I have to release my spacebar every single time I stop talking. My radio operator brain is like, especially with the headset. We're gonna talk about Trump now. Over.
Over. What were you gonna say about what I was saying about preference falsification?
Interrogative. What were we talking about? Over.
You said we got like 5 cents. We were playing like this weird game of telephone where you said in the past couple of years people have. Do you remember?
Wait, one. Over.
I didn't hear that first part.
I believe
all I heard was over.
I believe in the last few years.
Okay.
That people have come to realize that, like, before, like, Trump's first term, I feel like a lot of people were like, yeah, I voted for Trump. Or a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, I know it's crazy that he won. Like, he's doing good things that, you know, people would, like, quietly talk about.
Quietly, like, kind of put some in there. It's like, man, I hate the way he talks, but kind of like what he's doing.
But, you know, he has some good ideas or whatever. And, like, now we're to the point where it's like, No, I voted for Trump. I wanted Trump to do the things that he's doing.
That he said he was going
I'm
to do.
glad he's doing the things. Yeah, I'm glad he's doing the things that he said he was going to do, and that he's appointing these people who are doing the things that they said they were going to do. It's like that Joker meme where he's like, you know what, I'm glad, and I'm tired of pretending that I'm not. You know what I mean? That's what this feels like. Is it's like, you know what, I'm glad I voted for Trump. I'm glad he's doing all these things, and I'm tired of pretending that I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, and so this is where we're gonna get into the rabbit hole of what might get me in trouble and hurt me later on in my career. Um, there, it's about Kanye, and so obviously it's toting the line of being a situation, but um, Kanye's crazy and he's acting crazy. I think, especially compared to like normie people. But if he's wasting his,
I people, but yeah,
say that again.
just gonna say normal people, normie people.
Yeah, it's like maybe he's. What do they say? It's like the delivery is everything. His delivery on what he's trying to talk about, the conversation he's trying to have, is just really, really, really bad. And maybe he's not trying to have a conversation, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. But like, if he's trying to have a conversation, I'm at least listening, even if it's like maybe he is just bipolar and I'm reading too much into it. But like the Heil Hitler stuff is crazy. Um, the like whatever else, but like him him trying to like one of his podcasts he was talking about how like we need to spread more love and we need to like be accepting of everyone. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that bro is ruining his whole life and he's lost like $6 billion doing this. Either he's really bipolar or whatever he's trying to say has some element of truth to it. And if someone is trying to waste their $6 billion in their entire life, lose their wife and their kids to tell a message, I'm at least going to try to parse through and listen, even if it means wasting my time and getting a message that isn't true. So even I try to be the type of person that even if the message is correct, but the delivery is absolutely terrible, which is this is like the Mount Everest of that moment of the delivery is the worst that it could ever be. Whatever that so I don't know what that is, but I think that if he's trying to have a conversation about something, I am at least willing to try to figure out what that is because $6 billion is a lot of money, and maybe he is just bipolar. So that's all. That's all I'm trying to say. I had to preface all that with preference.
I was gonna say that.
But
I think that perhaps he is, bipolar, whatever. We we can't say what doctors. Dude, that meme of him doing the QuickTime event.
The QuickTime is so funny.
I've ever seen. People putting him as a QuickTime event is hilarious. Maybe maybe he is just bipolar, but I think that he's like he has, even if he is bipolar, he's still half rational. And I think
you don't get to where he is without being smart.
Yeah, I think at the very least, this is a guy who like, I think you just like. I used to think about this a lot as like a kid. Of people would be like, "Oh, I wish I was rich and famous." I was like, "Oh yeah, I wish I was rich and famous too." And then like, you would see all the hoops that rich and famous people have to like jump through, so that they don't get canceled and stuff like that. You're like, I would lose my mind.
Yeah, so
it's like we all make mistakes. Like I would say something and I would ruin my entire life.
I think
I was like, that would
changed.
be so to walk on egg. I think it has too, but like to walk on eggshells all the time, or to you lose everything that you've worked super hard to build up, like that would be terrible.
Yeah.
And I would, who knows? Maybe one day this bro just snapped and he was like, you know what? I have bro rediscovered free will, and was just like, I'm gonna say and do whatever I want because I have enough money and fame, and that I'm like, it doesn't matter. and people either hate me and I'll lose everything, but like I'm famous enough that I can still like, and with social media, I'll always have a platform no matter how much money I lose. And
Yeah.
so he was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna say whatever I want. And then he just said and says and does whatever he wants, and I respect that. Even if I don't agree with everything that he says, I respect that. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Screw the rest of the world.
Yeah. I hope that I never have to fully falsify my preferences to maintain a career. I always think this is going down another like weird intellectual rabbit hole, but if Earth has been, it's like been like a self-sorting, like um like what is the best and most optimized way for like humans to exist, if that's like a weird way to put it. It's like we started out and it was just humans trying to figure out how to even pay for themselves to eat food and live on the planet 12,000 years ago. And then we had the ancient Roman Empire, and then we had the Middle Ages, and then we had today kind of thing. It's like maybe having a celebrity be able to say, to have less consequences for saying what they believe, is a self-sorting situation. Like if there's a simulation, or if there's a system where the people that have a lot of influence, the top 1% of the world, who are the, or the top 5% of the world, who are the deal makers, the business people, the politicians, the religious leaders, um the, like whoever else, the celebrities that like create culture. If there's a world where there's no more cancel culture, and you don't lose your fame or money or status, or maybe just status, you don't lose your status for saying what you believe, even if it's against what everyone else is saying, is a good outcome. And so maybe all 12,000 years, the evolution of humans has led to one of the outcomes being celebrities don't have a lot less consequences for going against the grain. If that even makes any sense. That's like a really long, weird train of thought. But it's like, yeah, this is the most
No, it makes
optimized and
sense.
best outcome, if for now. And maybe there's
I
something.
think
Yeah. Over.
I think that people should just be able to break. I think that people should just be able to say whatever, like, you want. Freedom of speech. I mean, I agree. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences of your speech, but like, if you
Yeah.
just go around saying super stupid, dumb things,
Like
like
us.
it happens every single. Like, look at what's, we'll talk about some current events. The guy, what's the name of the guy that got beat up by the South Koreans, and
Oh.
he was like the live streamer,
But no, he did something
and he
really
got
bad.
his
He like raped a girl, which was like,
did he?
yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of a
The
different streamer. There was one that he like just got sentenced to like a
They
bunch of
always
years
rape a
in
girl,
prison
so
in
you never
Korea.
know. Yeah, what's his name? Because I remember he got beat up because he would just go around messing with people, and he like went to jail in Japan, but then Japan let him go, and then he like came back to America and was like, no, I'm done, I'm straightening out, and then he just went to Korea and started doing it, and there was like a retired Korean UDT frogman, which are like the Korean Navy SEALs, that like whooped his ass, and um, Donut Operator paid all his legal fees, by the way. That the Navy SEALs legal
Oh, I was about
fees.
to say, whoa,
Yeah,
Johnny Somali.
yeah, Johnny Somali. He's a perfect example of freedom of speech. Like being able to say and do whatever you want does not mean that you're free of the consequences of doing whatever you say and want. Because he's like a guy that's like, oh, I have freedom of speech. I'm gonna go be an asshole. It's like, no, that's not how it works, bro. Like if you're being a goober just to be the sake, just for the sake of being a goober, like people should treat you and you should be treated as a goober. Like you deserve everything that happens to you. And I think that like with Kanye, it's the same thing. Like, oh yeah, he's saying a bunch of stupid stuff. And so people are calling him stupid. Like, I agree, he is saying a bunch of stupid stuff. People are saying he's stupid. But then he has like these bouts of like clarity, where you're like, that though, that makes sense. I'm not, even a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like even a crazy person has some bits of wisdom every now and again. And it's your job as a free thinking human to separate the chaff from the wheat, so to say, and to figure out what the ideas where you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's actually a good idea. And then what the other ideas are, it's like, no, I don't think it's a good idea to have like 50 oiled up black men sitting in a freaking like or men, we'll just say 50 oiled up men sitting in a music video saying like a phrase that's, you know, praising like a pretty bad person in history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, the dude is facing up to 31 years in prison, and it's because he like sexually assaulted some girl. But he would have had jail time anyway, even if he didn't do that, because he pled guilty to obstruction of business in violation of minor crimes of the Minor Crimes Act related to he like did a bunch of really dumb stuff. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, he did a bunch of dumb stuff. I didn't know about the sexual assault. Well, good. I hope they throw the book at him.
Disrespect.
And they're like,
Oh,
he,
disrespecting a memorial for comfort women of victims of wartime sexual slavery. He like went to a place that was like a memorial for like victims of wartime sexual slavery, and he like violated it. That's next level. Like that's crazy. I don't know what he pled guilty to, or if he even did this. I guess these are the charges.
it's just
But you don't get charged with
doing
something as
stuff
obscure as
like,
that without having actually done it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, who does that? Like, who's like, you know what?
I
And
get it
that's
though.
the
Logan Paul went down that same route. That's how he ended up where with that big debacle that he was in. It's called the internet. It's called if you're
yeah,
a young adult
cloud
man,
chasing.
if you're a young adult man and your brain is still learning how the world works, and unfortunately you find yourself with a camera in your hand and you find yourself with a shit, and then your brain learns to react that the more crazy shit I do on camera, the more money that my pockets get loaded with. That's it's over, you know, like that's exactly how, like there's a
Logan Paul
world
in the
where this
Suicide
is
Forest.
yeah, that was the thing is like I am glad that I am old enough that I know that I would never do that, but there's a world where my dumb brain, if I was had access to a camera and I was a
There is
fucking
definitely a
photographer.
point in my life where I would have done that.
Yeah, I'm just grateful that I got through it and not doing it. And not having done that, I made mistakes, but but I'm just yeah, I get it. Yeah, there I yeah. Anyway, and I that's also something else about like the something
You
about
went to a dark place there, bro.
something about our generation that I think is
You
good.
went to a dark place.
Something about our generation is like in the 70s, 80s, 90s, people that grew up and that went through like their teenage and early 20s without the internet, they roll deep. I think I've talked about this on this podcast before of like they did some crazy stuff, but they only the boys know about it. Only the group chat knows about it, kind of thing. Whereas now we're Gen Z, it's like we just acknowledge that if you're a young man and between the age of like 12 to like 25, there's a chance that you do like the most heinous thing possible depending on who your friends, family, and environment are. And it's like we just need to acknowledge that unfortunately that's a reality for men. There are some women that are this way, but women are just for some reason just a little more immune to that kind of stuff.
The dad lore always goes crazy.
And so I think that our generation having it a lot of it be filmed on camera, it's like what's the result of that? It's okay, we're all humans here, we're all adults and we all make mistakes. We need us older adult men can't judge someone for making a dumb decision whenever they're younger. And also, it's our responsibility that if a young man does come to us, and I say young man, I'm still young, but if like a teenager or a really young 20s was doing something really dumb, it's like you would want to talk to them and be like, look, I get it. I would have done the exact same thing given the situation that you're in. Like I could see a path where I was going down that path, but it's probably better not to do it, that type of thing. And I think that conversation sometimes happened in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it's happening a lot more now, and that's good. And you just need to acknowledge that it's like whatever. Anyway, I don't know what the point. I kind of know the point I was trying to make there, but I'm also really bad at being concise and saying what I'm trying to say. And sometimes whenever I speak, it's like an idea I've had in my head for like months and years or weeks, and I'm like, I kind of get what I'm trying to say here, and then I say it out loud. And I'm like, that's a jumbled pile of shit that doesn't make any sense whenever I said it out loud.
That's why you must. I mean, I just try and speak in parables, bro. I try and make it make sense to me, and then I say it.
I just say it, and I just hope that doesn't make sense. I'll probably speak on this again in another couple of weeks or months, and it'll make better sense then because I'll have said it out loud and sounded really dumb. I think Bryce is still at work. Well, Bryce is probably going to be coming on the pod more regularly, probably all the time as like a full-time host, or he just
Can
got
we
home.
keep Bryce engaged enough for that?
What? Oh yeah, I'm not worried about it. We need that, Maybe we don't.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's bad? I haven't even asked you about it because
No,
right now it's just us two.
Trying to keep. I know, and I feel like a lot of our conversations. I don't know if Bryce is like.
Do you think it'll change it too much? Because we can just not have him on.
No, I think it'll be good to have Bryce here because it'll make
change?
us more appealing.
I agree.
To other people, because Bryce, the beauty of Bryce is that he's just a chill guy.
He is. He is like, you Google himbo, and you got Bryce.
90% of the men on the internet.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely go down rabbit holes when we talk about certain things. I don't know. I think Bryce brings in something.
He just doesn't have the fantastical autism that we have, which is good because it means that we're not constantly on fantastical autism hours.
Yeah, I think having him on will it. And
Bryce doesn't know what the Battleship Yamato power plant looks like. I think that
we'll
really
tell
says
him.
that.
He'll forget, and then we'll tell him again.
Yeah. And
that should be a bit.
Still won't understand.
The bit is every year we have a sit-down conversation with him about the Battleship Yamato, and he's forgotten. That might be true.
And they put it in space, Bryce. They made an anime about it. They put it in space.
The annual January 1st podcast, does Bryce remember the Battleship Yamato? Year 3, he's finally like, oh, this thing that you were talking about last year. We speak about it once at we do it now, and then every January 1st we will burn in Bryce's brain the Battleship Yamato. That thing is such a marvel of engineering. It's just so amazing to me.
It sucks that they failed at making
it. It's so awesome. It's one of those things where it's like wartime brings on things that should never exist. Because without war...
It sucks. Two things about suck. It sucks that neither of them made it. And there's three things. One, neither of them made it.
Port of Tokyo.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Neither of them made it through. They didn't make more of them. I guess there's four things. Neither of them made it through. They didn't make more of them. And the wrecks are both
very deep,
capsized.
Yeah.
The wrecks are capsized. I don't actually think they're that. I think they're within I was gonna say the fourth thing is that I'm pretty sure they're both within pillaging depths. Because do you know
Oh,
about that?
they were they pill? I didn't know. I'm not this deep in it. I just for me
Okay,
it's the
okay.
engineering of it. But
This is where we're gonna go down this rabbit hole.
okay.
There's there's World War II pre-war Pacific wrecks that are disappearing.
Is it because of the steel thing where like there's a certain type of steel that we need that doesn't have like radiation in it? Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, because they
I knew about this. Oh, dude, this is so cool. But there's also something even more cool. Okay, so I don't know why I feel like the need to preface this, but we'll jump back to that. But the you know Hank Green and John Green. Um, while I am who I am and I have the political beliefs that I do, it doesn't bother me, and I love his content. A lot of the science content, even some of the podcasts he's on, I hear some of his beliefs, and I'm like, I respectfully disagree, but I still love you, and I love who you are and what you represent and what you did for me in my like childhood and in my life. It was like someone of a little bit of a role model, for John and Hank Green, but mostly Hank Green. And just like a week ago, he did a YouTube video, and it was about, oh my gosh, this is so cool. There was a ship that we don't know around the time of, but during late Roman Empire, a lead mine. They made these big ships that they reinforced the bulkheads, and they put like 130 tons of lead from a mine, an ancient lead mine in Spain, and they would bring it across the coast or whatever to Italy, and then they would use it for the Roman Empire to build certain things. Lead was very useful, was very malleable. They couldn't do steel yet, kind of, and it was a very useful thing. There was a shipwreck off the coast of one of the islands near Sicily, and it sank. And there's like this 13,000 tons of lead, and there's a certain type of as when lead is mined, and then as it's mined and it's smelted down and put into a whatever, um it takes off a certain type of radiation. All materials have radiation, but it's usually at a small amount. um the half life of the type of metals and impurities that exist in lead take a long time to really become useful in specific type of science applications. So there's this science application where um it's so fine tuned that they need to have a lead wall surrounding it that has less radiation like output than like background radiation, or like they need to make a room that has zero radiation at all. So there's this ship that they found in like 2018 or something like that, and they were worried that it was going to get pillaged. And so the scientists paid to get the lead and put it in a museum. If they got like 10%, they paid like $300 million. It's like in the 80s or something like that. I forget when. I don't know why I said it was in the 2018s. It's like in the 80s, and they repurposed that lead because it had been sitting at the bottom of the ocean and hadn't been getting irradiated, and all of the radiation left it. It was the perfect type of steel to be used in this very specific type of science equation. There's a name for it that and it's in steel as well, where certain types of steel, if it was made pre-war and it was steel that wasn't above ground after the war, the radiation is so high in it. But when I watched this, I was like, this is one of the most interesting things ever. It was so cool how, and like on the lead, it had inscribed the names of the businessmen slash whoever you. I don't know much about the business of how it was organized.
company or whatever
Yeah,
of Rome.
on these lead freaking things, and I was like, that is so cool. And come to find out, they actually used a lot of that lead to make water piping for the city of Rome, so everyone was like getting lead poisoning, and we like didn't even know that, which is like ultra based. So it's like, but yes, and yes, and
The
so
chemicals in the water turning the frogs gay, bro.
that's right. The chemicals in the water were probably turning the frogs gay. But so
ask any so-called Roman historian from the left wing what the Romans were actually doing in the bathhouses.
The left probably would tell you. They'd probably be okay with it.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that they'll tell you, and then you'll be like, yeah, it's because there was chemicals in the water.
Oh yeah, but so what were you gonna say about pre-war steel? Were you gonna continue on, or so? Do you think that the
Well,
Yamato?
that was.
Do we know that the Yamatos were the class ships were pillaged for their steel for scientific?
So I don't know if they've been pillaged or not. The problem is that people like because shipwreck surveys, especially, um, shipwreck surveys are just they're expensive, and because we don't actually you don't actually have an exact position of any shipwreck except like maybe Titanic or like ones that have been like heavily surveyed. Like usually you know where things are, but you don't like um
The ocean's
you don't
huge.
know exactly. Yeah, the ocean's huge, and so like you still have to go look for it every single time you go back to it. You know about the same area, and it's super easy to find once you know where it is. Like there's so many things that go into any sort of shipwreck survey, and so they do not get surveyed as often as they should, especially now that they're being pillaged like that.
Oh, it's so
And that's why they're
sad.
such like um I know that our Navy classifies naval shipwreck locations, like U.S. Navy shipwreck locations are classified information. Like you can't just go find them. You
One
have
of
to
the
go
few
to the Navy.
classifications I agree with.
Yeah, the Navy has to like approve it. They have to fit like they do a whole bunch of things to make sure that you're not going to go pick up artifacts from it. You're not going to do things to it. They check um, like if you survey any sort of U.S. Navy related wreck, like the Navy has some sort of hand in it, and that's how most like first world Western militaries are. Is like they because part
But
of it's like honor and tradition.
do you know? Like, do we know? Like, let's say the one of the those ships sank, and like the thing is definitely during World War II, we didn't have hardcore electronics, so it's like over our ship is sinking. They're not like where are you at, and even if they are, it's like to go find that thing. There's no other ships nearby, and if a U.S. ship sunk it, and then they're like, "We sunk it at this spot," it's like doing a survey of the ocean is like, it's like, it's like trying to
We
find.
know where most major shipwrecks are from World War II now. Like
Oh,
we know where
really?
Musashi and Yamato are. Yeah, like everyone, like you know where Musashi and Yamato are. You can look up photographs of their wrecks. Like their wrecks have been surveyed, but they need to be surveyed like they should be getting surveyed like every year, which is way too that'd be way too much money, and um, there's so much that goes into it. But it's because Thai, the Thailand, and like there's Thai and Chinese companies that will float barges out to the wrecks, and they take like these massive dredging cranes that they have these massive metal
Right.
claws on these cranes, and they just drop it down into the shipwreck and just like rip the hole apart and pull it up for the metal. So they've done that to
And then they sell
HMS
it.
Prince of Wales. Yeah, and there's remains. There's still human remains on board these ships too. So like there was this story a couple years back of the remains of British sailors from the wreck of Prince of HMS Prince of Wales. They got like dumped in a sailor graveyard and like outside of a um, like a one of those the ship tear apart places. I can't remember what they're called. All of a sudden, like the graveyards where like unknown sailors and like workers get buried in Thailand because no one knows who they are, and so they just bury the
All
remains
because
there.
they're getting pulled
They're
up with the fucking cranes.
Yeah,
That's
because they're getting
insane.
pulled up with the cranes, and then when they go to sort it, they find the bones of the sailors that died in battle, and they just dump them in a mass grave and like bury it.
Yeah, part of me wants to recite that quote from the second ancient Roman war. I forget what it was called, the war, but the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. It's like part of me
And
wants to
like
be like, if China and Thailand are out doing this, we better be fucking doing it too. Yeah, because like the playing field changes whenever uh the playing field changes whenever there's a bad actor involved. You have to stoop down to their level if you want to be in the where they're at. Like, I don't know. That's how I see it.
I agree. No, I agree. I think this is what we should do is that we should patrol these things more frequently. But the
Andrew, dude, we should send an email.
yeah,
Have a
oh, we
submarine.
should, bro. Hey, Palmer Lucky, we need you to put like
That'd be
drones
probably
on every single one of these wrecks.
pretty inexpensive. It's just having the U.S. having the U.S. the DoD the DoD budget's so big. Find a couple $1 million a year. These drones probably Palmer, dude. This guy, all he does is goons and makes drones. I bet it's so cheap, to, like to get a drone. I bet they're probably doing it right now, dude. Palmer Lucky, if he knew about this, he'd be based enough to. If they're not, send a little email out to them and be like, "You guys should survey this and get the fucking get Thailand and China off of our steel, off of our history, really."
Yeah, I think I know that's what I'm saying. Not just our history off of our grave sites. Those are war graves. That's why the Navy treats them so sacredly.
Yeah.
And like any sort like if you get photographs of a US naval wreck with human remains, it immediately everything from that expedition immediately gets classified top secret and gets locked in a top secret vault that you can't go into the vault with any sort of electronics at all. Like
I
that
wonder
was
if there's like a nefarious reason for that as well. You know what I mean? You don't classify
yeah.
everything for no reason. Like not everybody at the DoD that's classifying stuff that made the rule to classify that. How do you say? Is of the highest moral character.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wonder what if there's a secondary play at why that type of stuff.
I don't think it is because the Navy, if there's one thing the Navy is big on besides being gay, it's their traditions. Like
Which is
naval tradition, naval tradition is everything to the Navy. And it's like this whole like thing of like when you sink an enemy ship, like you still try and pick up the guys that you sank. Like you pick up the guys that you sank because they're fellow sailors and their life was just as shitty as yours. And like there's this whole like thing of honor when you can have it in the Navy and stuff like that. But it's a huge deal because it's not the like I mean most shipwrecks are graves, but like it's a special thing for like naval shipwrecks because those are wartime graves.
Mm-hmm.
And
is there
like,
bodies in the Titanic?
They're long gone by now.
What? How do they?
I mean, there could be. There's always chance. I mean, the fact that like, I watched a TV show one time when I was a kid where they were surveying a wreck from that was HMS Victorious, I think it was, or whatever, which was from like the 1500s.
Holy what?
That sank. And they were surveying the wreck and they were like looking at the debris from the wreck and stuff like that.
They found remains
to like identify it. And they're like, oh look, we found a cannonball, and they picked it up with their ROV and flipped it over to see if there was any sort of because like the cannonballs would have markings on them. Yeah, and they flipped the cannonball over, and it wasn't a cannonball; it was a skull. It was just a skull that had been under the water for 500 years, and so it was black. And they like freaked out, and they like put it back exactly. Yeah, they put it back exactly where it was, and like immediately they pulled their ROV up. They pulled the camera footage. They stopped all of it, and the first thing they did was they called the Royal Navy, and told the Royal Navy about it. And like the Royal Navy sent a destroyer out, or like one of their ships. Like the officers boarded it, and there's like a whole thing that you have to do, because it's not just because that's not just like that's a Royal Navy sailor from like the 1500s, but
that's
like
cool. That's
exactly.
So cool.
And so, like, they give him, like, a proper burial at sea. They bury him back under the cannon that they found him under. And, like, they show the Royal Navy everything. They give them the exact location of it.
But I also want to explore more. Like, I don't know.
No, I agree. But there's, like, a whole thing of, like, if you penetrate, like, when James Cameron... hear me out. When James Cameron was, like, surveying the Bismarck, the German government told him not to go inside, or like he had to be super careful about going in.
Bismarck?
Because he used his money from Titanic to survey a bunch of cool shipwrecks that Robert Ballard found.
That's based as fuck.
Yeah, it's
I didn't
super
know
cool.
that.
And they were like, you can go, but like be careful, like don't penetrate the wreck too hard because like there's bodies inside. Like there's that is a burial site, even if it is um of a time that Germany's not maybe super proud of, they still treat it as like a big thing. Like it's the same thing with like U-boats. Like if you find a U-boat, the German like you have to notify the Bundesmarine about it. If you find a U-boat that hasn't been documented, you notify the Bundesmarine about it, and the Bundesmarine will like figure out what U-boat it is if you can't figure it out. They'll notify the families too. When you figure out what ship it is, the Bundesmarine will send representatives to the houses of whatever relatives are left of those sailors and be like, "Hey, we found your like sailor's boat." Even though it's, from a war that's been over for 80 years,
Yeah.
because it's such naval tradition is such a big deal.
Yeah,
So
that's a
I
weird
think
thing
that
to
they
me. I
should.
think it's cool. The tradition is cool, but that if like I had like a great grandfather that died, I don't know. Maybe I would actually. Huh, I don't know.
The good thing about it is that the coolest American wrecks from World War II in the Pacific are all thousands and thousands of feet deep. Like it's actually crazy. They're so deep that they're perfectly preserved. I'll have to show you about. I'll show it to you sometime. But like the aircraft carriers from like the Battle of Midway and stuff like that are so deep that you can still read the writing. Like the fire hoses from the ship
Oh,
are
because
still
the
there. You
pressure
can
just
read the
preserved it.
yeah, like the camo. So
Are they
the
being?
camo paint schemes are still there. You can read the numbers on the ship. You can read the plaques. You can read like
Does the
the
deeper
ammo
it goes, the like
cans.
the easier it is to preserve? Like the pressure preserves it, or just harder to be pillaged?
So there's a lot of things that go into it. Sunlight decays.
Oh,
Sunlight, like the closer you are to sunlight, the more marine growth there is. Water temperature, salt content. There's a lot that goes into it.
isn't it true that there's like less? There's actually less water the deeper you go, or sorry, less salt, less water.
It, yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I was reading about this
The
new water osmosis thing that where you put a pump really deep underwater, and then you're like not having to filter as much salt out or something like that. Random.
so there's like pictures from the wreck of USS Lexington where there's planes that like fell off the wreck as it sank, and the paint scheme is still clearly like you can see the red, white, and blue roundel
That's so
on the
cool.
planes.
Where
And
did?
like if you look at planes that are the exact same planes that are in shallow waters, they're almost completely gone.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones in deep water, like you can read them.
Well, explain
You
to
can
me. You
you could be
probably.
like,
What were you saying?
no, that was it.
Midway. Remind me why was Midway, why were ships sunk at so deep? Because most, it seems like a lot of naval battles were typically closer to land. Like it.
Because midway, they never saw each other. The ships never saw each other. I mean, they did. That's not true. That's not true at all. They definitely did. But like the major sinkings of Midway were the aircraft carriers, and they were sunk by planes from other aircraft
Like,
carriers.
you
So they
say,
were just out
wait,
in
say
the
that you
ocean.
broke up. You say, did you say kamikaze planes?
No, so like the major losses at Midway were the major capital ship losses were aircraft carriers,
And those were just so far away from any island. Like, they were close to
and they were
Midway.
sunk by other aircraft carriers, by the
Because
planes from other
the
aircraft
planes
carriers.
from other aircraft carriers. So is there also like Japanese ships that are near? Like, did we sink any major aircraft carriers at Midway?
Yeah, that was the whole reason that Midway was such a big deal. Is because we basically sank all the Japanese aircraft carriers at Midway,
Oh,
and
like
they
on the
lost
order of
they lost
like 2 or 10, 5, 20,
four,
4.
four out of like seven or something like
I
that. I
see.
can't remember the exact numbers. My ADHD, my autism. 10-year-old me is gonna kill adult me for not knowing that fact anymore.
I see.
Okay,
Well,
look. So I'm gonna text you. This is a picture. The type of plane that's on the USS. I think this is from Lexington. This is the same type of plane in shallow water, and this is what it looks like on the wreck in deep water. Also, the shallow water wreck picture is like 10 or 20. I think it's 10 or 15 years older. The shallow water one is, so it would be even worse today.
Why was the one? Seems like it was. Why was a World War II plane being sunk in shallow water in a non-war time?
No, no, it's. I'm saying that like that picture was taken
Oh, okay,
like a
okay.
decade prior to
I thought you were
the
saying like when
deep
they
water
sank.
picture.
That's so cool.
Look at this. Look, this is one of the aircraft tugs that would like tow the aircraft around the deck.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
On, are you
It,
ready for this?
is
Look
this?
at this. You can still read the manufacturer number on it. Oh, it didn't send it.
It didn't send correctly.
Oh, you bitch.
Throw it in like Thrag chat. Yeah,
I
I'm
hate
not.
that iPhone will just like make iPhone will just
It'll choose which
the,
phone
the
to
the
send.
phone decides it knows better than me and it will do what it wants.
Yeah, that's so cool. Where is diveplanet.com? Were there any major battles in the Atlantic where warships were sunk? Like in deep, deep Atlantic?
Bismarck.
How far deep was that? How deep is the Bismarck?
Bismarck is deeper than Titanic. When Ballard found it, he found because um, they had a big swastika that they painted on it so that they could see it from the air when it was out, and like they painted over it when it was going to sortie, but the paint that was over it had vanished, and so one of the first things they saw when they found it was a massive swastika on the deck.
Why did the paint go away?
Just because it's underwater, paint deteriorates pretty rapidly underwater. Especially light colored paint. That's why that the red still being there
Is
on
like
that plane is
insane.
insane.
You can see like the wheel next to it. I didn't realize that there were shipwrecks that were known that were deeper than the Titanic. When and
Yeah,
how
dude,
did we?
Titanic is not that deep at all compared to a lot of wrecks.
Oh, I didn't know that. What's the one that I'm thinking of? Just the bot. I don't know why. Maybe I'm dumb because it's the same ocean. I just don't know a lot about this. But I always thought that like the Titanic was in the Atlantic, so it was at like the very middle of the Marianas Trench, like at the very like the fault or something like that.
Marianas Trench is Pacific.
No, it's not. What's the trench in the Atlantic? Marianas Trench. Yeah, what? Wait, what? What's the one? Wait, what's the fault that I'm thinking of that's in the middle of the Atlantic? Isn't there like a really deep spot in the Atlantic? I am embarrassed right now. Wait, one second. We're going. We're still recording. We're just down a rabbit hole right now about shipwrecks. Wait, one second. What? What am I thinking? I can't hear you.
Look up USS Hornet tug.
Oh, that's so cool. It's still like in the bay.
Yeah, and you can look, the engine's in perfect condition. You can see the tires. You can literally read that it's an International Harvester 800 made by like the international company.
That's so cool. You know that the aircraft carriers are always so awesome to me because it's just like it was essentially just a big diesel utility tractor that was just thrown on a freaking aircraft carrier.
Yeah, so the thing that's crazy about all this is that like the American Deepwater wrecks, like you can still see their wartime paint scheme on them, like the blue block, like because they had camo paint schemes that they would paint on them when they would like sortie out, um, and all the American carriers, like they still have their hull numbers painted on them. They still have their camo patterns painted on them. The planes still have their paint. Like the tractors still have their engines and tires. Like internal combustion engines almost rust almost immediately. They evaporate immediately when they go underwater because it's because the metal's so thin.
Wait, which ones
Because
do?
you know a shipwreck, like internet internal combustion engines,
What about them? Sorry, I heard the first
like
part where the paint stays on them for the wartime
so a shipwreck is gonna stay there. It's gonna stay for a while because that's big, thick steel,
ones.
right?
Yeah.
That's like ship-made steel. An internal combustion engine is thin steel compared to a ship, right? So
The actual
ice
combustion
engines,
engine or the paneling on the car or both.
both. All of it is gonna it's gonna rust away.
I see. What were you saying though?
Sorry, I had my keybind set to my spacebar, but it was really screwing with
Typing.
me trying to do stuff on my computer. So ice engines, like it's just not as like powerful of steel. It's not, it's not like 20 inches thick or whatever that a warship is going to be. So like if you look at that picture of the plane I sent you,
Yeah.
you can see that the engine and like the front of the plane has rusted away mostly.
Oh yeah, weird.
Um, yeah, because the engine rusts away pretty quickly.
I would have never
But
thought
it's
that.
still like, well, yeah, it's just because
Different
it's
types
a
of
bunch
steel.
it's a bunch it's not one big thing, it's a bunch of little things put together, and so
Oh.
those little things are going to rust away pretty quick.
Don't even see
But yeah, there was this whole thing where they found most of the major American deep water wrecks in like 2018. It was literally a rich guy that um, he actually died like a year or two after he did this, but he spent the last years of his life just funding expeditions to go find all the great World War II Pacific shipwrecks and like find them all, document them, and stuff like that. And they found that all the American carriers are in deep water, and and like they found USS Indianapolis, which is the ship that delivered the atomic bomb, and then it got sunk like a day or two after, and all the guys got eaten by sharks, and it's like the worst loss of life in U.S. naval history
Why do you
and stuff
think
like that.
Japan sunk it?
It got torpedoed by a Japanese submarine, and then they blamed the captain because he wasn't zigzagging, and it was a huge thing. It's
He
like
wasn't
probably one of the
zigzagging
most
because he
famous.
thought the war was over.
Kind of. There's a lot to it. So, um, and again, 10-year-old me is gonna be mad at adult me for not going into this for the next 2 hours. But there's um, like all those ships that are all those American ships that are in deep water, they still have their paint schemes. They still have their hull numbers. You can read like the placards on them. It's insane. I'll send you some videos that I've been watching of it, but like it's crazy how just how well preserved they are, and it's funny because there's Japanese shipwrecks that are in deep water too.
One sec. It is effing hard. Okay, wait. Okay, you're back. Say what? There's a lot of Japanese shipwrecks, but hello. Your internet like ultra effed. Oh, it's still ultra effing actually.
In,
I cannot. Wait.
yeah, I know it's because I'm on.
Okay, it's kind of back. I think.
It's it's just hotel internet.
We've actually kind of got through most of it with it being fine.
There's Japanese shipwrecks that are in deep water too, but they're not as well preserved as the American ones are, because American manufacturing is just insane. And also the U.S. Navy and their painting regulations and how the U.S. like the Navy like demands that everything be perfect and spotless at all times has probably like helped with that too. But like no, there's like few wrecks on this earth are as well preserved as deepwater U.S. Navy wrecks.
That's cool.
Because they're just so well built and well like managed and stuff like that. Like it's crazy.
What? Battles.
How well like there was there's a picture somewhere where they found someone's coat hanging on the door, except for the ship is 2 miles underneath the water or whatever.
That's crazy. What shipwrecks do what pre-war steel shipwrecks do like do China and Taiwan or Thailand have access to? Were they going out to these like deep water wrecks in the Pacific, or was there some like U.S. naval ships that got close enough to like Okinawa, or were they further west than like Japan during W2? Like, did we ever come?
Hang on, what was the question? Sorry.
What are you looking up?
I'm trying to find the picture of the Navy. It's whatever. I'll send it to you later.
Okay, you're good. I was
There's like
asking
a
two different questions. Was there ever any ships that were sunk in like the Indian Ocean during W2? Like, did we ever take ships from the U.S., leave them off the East Coast, go through like Mediterranean, and then through like Panama, and then to go out to Japan or anything? Were they all westward?
I think they there there was, but like you're not gonna find. I mean, there's
I'm just trying to figure out what shipwrecks are they just going? Are the China and Taiwan shipwreck scavengers? What area were they finding these shipwrecks at? Where they're taking that pre-war steel, and like who are the buyers for this pre-war steel in China? You know what I mean?
like companies that use the steel for exactly what you're talking about. It's for like medical instruments and like space aerospace stuff. It's for instruments that are so sensitive they
And
can't
particle
have any sort of
physics.
background radiation around them.
Yeah. So is it fair to assume that there could be a like a 20% amount of medical grade steel in these imaging that we need in the US that's just been salvaged by China and we bought it and just didn't source it?
There it could very well be a thing that we probably have some of our own stuff or like someone else's stuff.
Um anyway, uh real quick, we're going to end, but we're going to end here in a second. Oh, what the what? Why is it not opening? This is so lame. Oh, I did not mean to do that. This. Gigs real fast. If you
What did you
had
say?
real, or what are you looking up?
Nothing.
Um, uh, if you had, if we had to give like an earnest email, um, to Homeboy, well, what were the key things that you would want to say?
To what? Palmer Lucky?
No, no, no. That too. I mean, we should send out an email because that's a good idea. If nobody's ever, I'm sure someone has a thought about that. But if not, it's a the DoD needs to get
They
on
should be kamikaze drones. Is what they should be. I personally think that we should like you should find that we the Navy should find the barges. You find the barges. You pull all the pieces off of it, so that you can at least take them back to their own country. And like you take them back to whatever country the wreck came from. Like you offload everything. You're like, oh yeah, this is like British
the
steel
steel.
from a Brit. Yeah, like you pull the
Why not
pieces
just
off of.
leave them there and troll them, or because they're graves, right? The navies are like really weird about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you give it you get or you okay fine you find them in the act. Okay, you take everything first. You stop them, you
Oh,
board
so
their
you're
boat,
you're
you
saying
hold them.
troll for a couple years until you catch one in the act.
Yeah, yeah, you patrol. Well, you just patrol. You try and stop them, but you patrol because you'll catch them eventually. Eventually they'll find some way, and they're already doing it, and the U.S. Navy has caught them in that act, and they have like satellite surveillance of it dropping off steel from like HMS Prince of Wales and stuff like that, and they confiscated the barge. But I think what you should do is you catch them. If you catch them, you call whatever country
You
whose
give the
warships
steel
they're
back.
desecrating, and you say, hey, what do you want us to do with whatever this is? You know, we'll bring you the remains. We'll bring you the steel. Do with it what you see fit. It's yours. It belongs to you. Bury the remains, whatever.
I agree
And
with
then
that.
you
I thought
take
you
it
were
all. You
saying take
put it
those
on your
drone.
ship.
Sorry, keep going.
You put it on your ship, and then you just sail away. And as you're sailing away, you spin that freaking that 5-inch Mark 45 naval gun around, and you just fill them full of holes. And you say, "All right, boys, I hope you can swim." And then you just leave, and pretty soon
No,
the
that's how you start
Chinaman
an
they'll stop.
international incident.
No, you say, "Hey, you desecrated our war graves. You're desecrating a war grave. You're
That's
attacking my warship. It may already be sunk, but you are literally attacking my warship. So I'm going to attack your ship that's attacking my warship. And if you don't like that, stop pillaging my war graves. Period.
that's how you start
And
World War
that's all
Three
you
with
do,
China. We already have
dude.
tensions with China.
I know, and that's I wouldn't care. I'd be like, stop. It's a civilian vessel. Your civilian vessel declared war on my warship, and so I declared war on your civilian vessel.
Where you turn the other cheek and
The
say,
Argentinians do it. The Argentines do it.
"Do what?" Did the Argentine?
So
Did they have warships? Were.
they have a navy.
Oh, I
They
didn't know
actually
that.
have a fairly big navy for South America.
Who has the biggest?
Um,
Probably Argentina,
I think it's Argentina or Brazil.
Brazil. Yeah,
So the
Brazil.
Argentine navy had the Argentinians had a problem where because the Chinese has their navy and then they have their militia navy, which is a bunch of civilian vessels that are under Chinese flag and they
Yeah,
say
they're.
they aren't part of the Chinese navy.
I recently learned about this. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because it's interesting to me. Every Chinese company, like Evergreen's Chinese, a lot of the bigger names that I wish I knew more about logistics, but I don't. Um, if they're owned by a Chinese company, it's any boat in water, that is a warship that the country owns and is allowed to turn into a warship if they want to. So someone was telling me about that. Or I was listening to that on a podcast, and I was like, "That's smart.
I
That's
mean,
an
we have
authoritarian
something
government."
similar that's kind of the merchant marine, but no, the China has their militia navy, which are they're like fishing vessels and like Chinese civilian vessels that are under the proxy of civilian vessels, but they're directly controlled by the Chinese Navy. Their actions and like they're the ones that like they cut undersea cables by dragging their anchor,
On
and they
purpose.
like Yeah, they do it on purpose. They do stuff like that, and they fish because the Chinese population lives off of fish. They overfish their waters, and so then they go into international waters, and they go into other countries' waters, and then they sit on the outskirts and then run whenever they're confronted. They run back to international waters, and the Argentines had such a problem with them
Oh, so
overfishing
they're
Argentine
they're
waters.
everywhere. Like
Yeah,
like they're like all over the world fucking around.
yeah, they are. So the Argentines have had such a problem with Chinese flagged, or they're not Chinese flagged, because if they're Chinese flagged, they can call China out. So they don't
But like
usually fly any
known,
flag.
yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times they have like slaves as the crews. The
Really?
Argentines had such a problem with them. Yeah, the Argentines had such a problem with them running away back to international waters that the Argentine Navy just started blowing them up. And so, like, because they would just run back to international waters, so the Argentines just started shooting at them, and then they quit coming to Argentina. Sweet jacket, by the way.
Oh yeah, this is so sick. It turned from 71 to 65 in my room. Probably because I have the AC set at 65. Um, what I was gonna say to finish off the thing is, um, homeboy, the video that that I sent to you to talk about nuclear.
Uh huh. Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna find his thing and we're gonna email him real fast and kind of just tell him where we're at and like what the idea is. What would you how do you want the like email to be sent? To be super honest, does that make sense what I'm saying?
What do you mean? How do I want it to be sent?
No, like if there was any specific wording that you would want to be in it, or like the theme, or like
We're just a couple dudes that want to be able to better discuss nuclear power with our friends, so that we can convince more people that nuclear energy is the future.
eh, yeah, that's kind of like the spirit of what I want it to be as well. As far as the fact that we're a little bit uncouth, should we acknowledge it and just kind of be upfront about it and just explain where we come from?
Yeah, yeah. We should be like we're like politically like we don't care. We exercise our First Amendment right, but we're just goofy. Like we don't mean any of it. We just we're just a couple guys that a couple young men that talk like young men.
Yeah. So I agree. I was gonna ask you how you if you're cool with that, but just kind of being upfront about it, and also the fact that no one watches.
Yeah, you should also be like, well, by the way, it doesn't matter what we say because no one watches this anyways.
Not that, but um, okay. We're gonna end it at 2 hours and 20 minutes. This happens every single time. The first little bit is awkward. I don't know how to start it. I don't know whatever. But then we go down a rabbit hole and it's so interesting and so fun that whenever it's like I want to end at an hour and a half, but the last 40 minutes are always the best conversation and the most interesting and just like the best part. But all right.
I agree.
Who's Ali A? See you later.